Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger and my friends. Here we are again talking about Street Fighter 6, and today specifically we are talking about Marisa. So here on the channels, we're really big fans of Marisa. Let's put it that way, right? A 6'8" giant lady that absolutely pounds you into dust. What is not to love there? And today we have been blessed as Capcom has given us just a little bit more footage for Marisa that gives us more context on some of the things we've seen in the trailer, and also just some straight up all new things for her, which are very, very interesting. Not the least of which is one of the universal mechanics of the game. Marisa can easily play her way around it. So that said here, let's pop into the new footage for a second. You can see it right here. Rating pending, by the way. We don't have a rating for the game. And it's showing the new stage. It's showing her fighting Mano. I guess they're rivals, I suppose. Some interesting first-time stuff like that. And this super here. So that's shown. Let's rewind it. So right off the bat here, we can see just the idle poses. And we go into what I am assuming is a target combo. Because the animation just kind of goes into each other, 1 to 2. And then we see her do her Gladius punch. So one of the things we know about the Gladius Punch special move specifically is that it's modular to a degree. So you can hold it, although here you don't have to. You can just do it as a singleton punch, but if you hold it, it will give it super armor, as we'll see in a second here, and also multiple hits. And also it's a little detail here, I'm just a big fan of it. When the move finishes up here, it hit so hard that it heated up her hands. After it connects, you can see smoke coming off her hands. I just think that's really, really cool. And speaking of cool, ain't nothing cooler than super armor. So that kick, Marisa just completely blows through it and decimates Mano. Love the animations. So you can see here very early on into the move, that is when the super armor activates. So if it's anything like Street Fighter 5, they're probably allergic to having armor starting on frame 1, but it could start, frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, something like that. But basically, if you hold it in neutral, it's just going to be very scary because as soon as you're recovering from whatever button you hit, she comes in and cranks you in the face. And it looks like if it hits counter hit, the second hit will cause that cinematic shift where the enemy is blown back. This is something we've seen in the previous trailer, and we'll come back to it in a moment. But the cinematic shift is something that can happen. If we go back to the original trailer, we can see here, when it just hits by itself, no cinematic shift, no cinematic camera. For the second hit, it just connects. Also here, she is using a different arm to start with. Although it could just be as simple as, the strength of the button, light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, depending on which button you hit, is a different style of punch for the Gladius, which makes sense. All of them are holdable though, by the way, as we can see in the footage. Now, next up here is some really wild stuff. A lot is going on here. So first off, the very obvious, she's doing a giant Superman punch, and she connects big time. This isn't some weak, limp-wristed Roman Reigns Superman punch. No. This is the real deal. Also, on top of this, going by the audio leaks, we know that Marisa has multiple moves, potentially, that are overheads and also moves that are low. So this move looks like it could definitely be an overhead. So Marisa is not a grappler. She's not like Zangief, right? She's big and armored, yes, but not anything with grabs. So high-low mix-up is what's there in place, and this looks like it could be an overhead. Now that all said, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. So Mano is going for her drive impact. The move that has armor, 2 hits of armor, in fact. And this move blows clear through it. It's not even a thing. It didn't do so many hits that it went through the armor. It just broke the armor in 1 hit. And now we have proof and confirmation that Marisa has a fairly unique mechanic, as she is the one character, that we know of anyways, that can just break armor. Going back to the original trailer for a moment here, we did have this move. And at the time, I speculated it might be a level 1 super, because simply moves don't break armor in this game, right? So it had to be a super because supers do break armor. And now we know, no, that's just not correct. As we have another example here. So yes, Marisa can simply just break armor by herself. No supers needed. And also in this example, no meter needed either. So this looks to be a fully charged Gladius punch. And once again, just breaks through the armor in 1 hit. And also on counter hit, as we talked about earlier, it gets the cinematic shift, the cinematic camera angle for the follow-up punch. So it could very well wind up being this case. Moves that can charge, if you charge them, they break armor. And if you do the EX version, because this is obviously an EX version of the move, it just breaks armor regardless, doesn't need any time to charge. We do not have all the details right now, but this is what it's starting to look like to me. Now that said, mere moments after this happens, something else titanically big also happens because we got a big super. So this looks like it will be her level 2 super. So after a little cinematic, she slams you up and then, well, slams you back down with as little grace as possible. This is like Terry Bogard's power dunk, but if it was done by the Hulk or Doomsday instead, right? Certainly a good deal more vicious. Also, just rewinding at one brief moment here, after the EX Superman punch, you might notice Manon is put in a bit of a tumble state. So she is knocked down here. But Marisa can still follow up with the super move. States like that or anything OTG related are not particularly common in Street Fighter themselves, so this is a very interesting thing. Also, it's cosmetic, but during the move she has kind of like a metallic sheen going on. This may be related to the fact lore-wise that she is a jewelry designer. So on top of just, destroying the weak, she also likes making jewelry. Like, she does have that lovely pendant on her neck, right? And that is a lot of the new things that we have learned about Marisa. So one of the things just out of the gate, you will have to play against her just a little bit differently than everyone else, simply because she doesn't have to respect drive impact in the same way every other character does. So many moves in this game are just slow enough that you can catch them on reaction with your drive impact, right? Like, oh, I caught you doing this, I hit the button, haha, you get drive impacted. For Marisa, many of these moves that are slower, like her charging up the Gladius, if you try to drive impact, she's gonna blow through it for free and then also get the extra damage from the camera shift and all that kind of stuff, right? So you cannot play maybe exactly the same. So therefore, like stuff like a parry would be much more valuable against her than it would be the average character. Instead of catching slower moves with the drive impact, it's something you simply cannot do. So you got to catch the slower moves with the parry. It may be a little bit scary, but you got to stare down the bull and take it by the horns. Because if you try to challenge her with the universal armored mechanic, well, that's just not going to work. She's just too strong for you to armor through it. And frankly, I love everything about it. Everything I see about this character just makes me love her more and more and more. It's just great. And if you'll permit me this little bit of fluff here, now that we've seen a lot more, okay, she's the gigantic super armor character that just has the mega punches, right? That made me realize something here. It's got a lot in common with a certain someone else from a certain other game. So now the way I look at it here, Marisa's wacky hair, that's just lady sideburns, just like Maxima. And honestly, the super armored character with the weird hair versus the French fashion model grappler in the Colosseum, there is some resemblances there, right? So we got a little bit of an extra look at Manon the other day. We got a little bit of an extra look at Marisa now. So we may be getting a little bit of an extra look at JP fairly soon. And if we do, then don't worry, I'll have it all covered on the channel for you right here. That all said though, friends, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.